Kane, it's 1-0. We're fucking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened as I said it would. People will be. Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe football show and another edition of the Late Night Leeds. My apologies for being late, but basically I've been locked in talks with Andrea and Lockie, as both were subject to release clauses. They were having chats with other channels, trying to, give their scouting services elsewhere. Lockie refused earlier to even come on, and I had to have a word with him in his ear. And after much deliberation, I've managed to convince them to come on. Please don't boo them. It's what it is. It's been a long evening, so I've managed to sort it. So as you can see,
I don't know my age is terrible. Probably the same as me on top.
Love it. And we've got Lockie. How are we doing, lads? Are we good?
Yeah, not bad. Just finalising the move to Bournemouth, and then I'll might leave halfway through the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we need to keep going. Not a good moment for the club, but we need to stay positive and keep going.
We do. We have to try to. Listen, folks, we've only just started. We're 2 minutes in and we're on 900 people already. There were 600 waiting before we even hit go live, which is absolutely amazing. Really, really growing. So really, really grateful. And I know these are as well, as they take, they take their work, they take pride in their work with the stuff that they go through and stuff. So I'm really, really grateful for their support. Really, really grateful for your support. And, look, we might hit 1,000 before we even about to start talking, man, which is amazing. So smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course hit that notification bell. Hope you've watched my short earlier on with Bullshit Man from Carl Pilkington. I genuinely was laughing my head off as I created it. We've hit 1,000 already, and I've not even had a chance to speak to the guys, which is amazing. So keep smashing the likes. It helps the algorithms. It gets more eyes on it, etc., etc. You know how it works. Andrea, before we talk Leeds, how are you in yourself, mate? I know you weren't on the final word yesterday, so what you been up to? How's things? I like your t-shirt as well, mate.
Yeah, thank you, mate. I'm the one behind you, of course.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
With the culture. No, everything good, mate. I've been watching some football before, not just like you, the Monday Night Football, but Italian Cup, I was watching Gianpaolo play versus Spezia.
He scored as well, right? He scored,
well. Actually, he scored from a low cross, getting behind the defense from a low cross from the wing, I imagined. Then James low cross, and Gianpaolo getting at the end of it. That's why he will be the perfect.
Well, you say Dan James low cross, he'd miss him. He'd miss him, bro. If he not Dan James crossing the ball, please. Someone else, ideally.
Yeah, Byron maybe.
Shaq.
Shaq.
Not Shaq either. Not Shaq either. Nah. None of them, basically. Just let Polyapano
cross to himself.
Hit between him, Rodon, and Ampadu, and we'll be all right, I think.
Yeah, but apart from that, everything good. I'm currently not at work, because on holiday, so till the 28th. So I'm free time during the day, a lot of free time, and just relaxing and recharge the batteries.
You shouldn't have said that, because now I know you're not working during the day. We'll probably get you on during the day as well. So you're your relaxing time's gone, bro. Your relaxing time's gone now. Mr. Ben Locke, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. I just need to clarify. Someone said I've got a red book in my background. That is an agent book. Don't worry about it. It's nothing to do with Manchester United. Just to clarify. I'm
did you see what Ash did to me earlier, by the way?
Yeah, that's funny.
Honestly, I could not believe he did that to me. I was fuming, man. I had like a red Chicago Bulls top, and I lifted it up like this, and he he went and put them. I'll have to show people. Go on, Lockie. Tell everyone how you are.
I'm all right. It's mental in it, honestly. Twitter's like, what's going on every 5 minutes at this club? I have no idea, but I'm definitely not a secret Scum fan, Mr. Dodo. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not.
Good. I'm good.
Just did any? I guess you watched that game. How was that not a penalty, by the way, at the end there? Like, what's going on here?
I honestly don't know.
It infuriated me. I can't lie. I was fuming.
It's mad, innit?
Top 6, innit? Top 6.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find Ash's tweet, what he did. Oh, he's done that many about Chris Wood and all these other people. Yeah.
No, don't let me talk on that, please.
No, I know. For those that are wondering, though, if you watched me earlier and you did see my because I was like, I'm wearing red, I don't care, I've just woke up, I'm annoyed. Ash then decided to do this, which you can, as you can expect, that's just pure Ash behaviour. So yeah. But yeah, listen, right, we're going to talk about the prospective strikers tonight that we have been. Well, we're guessing basically. We're guessing who this unnamed striker is. Now, what I will say, knowing that basically Graham said we're in for Kamara, Tyler Adams is staying, and we've bid for a striker. Ultimately, Tyler Adams is going. Michael Beale said we're not in for Kamara, but he's probably going to say that. So we don't even know if this striker is real. But if this striker is real, we're going to have a hazard a guess at who it might be, who's going to fit the system. There's a few names that have been linked. Archer, the guy from Everton as well, Cannon, and of course Pirro, Polyapano, the lot, right? So we're going to talk about them. But before we do, let's talk about the situation at Leeds. More specifically, I guess, if people haven't seen this, you know, we were speaking the other day about there being a potential end date on this, on these contract or on these relegation release clauses. We were speaking on it the other day. Someone released it on Wacko. We had a chat about it. So basically, a Aston Villa-based journalist has mentioned tonight in regards to Adams going to Bournemouth, that there is a time limit on Tyler Adams' release clause. So he's got a release clause of 20 million. So at least we know it's not another loan clause when it comes to Tyler Adams. It looks like it's cash. 20 million's cheap for me anyway, considering what we paid, but it is what it is. This is probably how you get to these players to agree to come to your club when you've just been in a relegation dogfight. You say, well, look, we'll lower your release clause so you can exit. Okay, I'll come. So there is a time limit on it. I'll share the tweet with you so you can see it, folks. But as you can see here, I'm just going to zoom in on that. It says Adams has a time-limited £20 million release clause in his contract, which does not run until the end of the window. So when we consider everything, Daniel Farkason, we can discuss on these contracts at some point. The fact that this week has been pretty hectic when you consider players trying to get out of the football club as quick as they can. We've seen Harrison done within 24 hours, Adams at Chelsea, Bournemouth, wherever. So there is a time limit. And Andrea, we've been speaking about it. This is a positive and a negative. A negative because players are exiting, but it is positive that there is an end date, right?
Yeah, absolutely, because you have some time to bring some players, especially like a monetary release clause like the one of Adams with 20 million, to reinvest that money, because of course, in order to abide by profit and sustainability and FFP, you have to have a certain amount of income and outcome. So of course we had little to no income because it was around 4 million, with the 3 million of the risk clause of Rodrigo and the salon clause of Caprile, the former Turco keeper from Bari to Napoli. So it's little to no income. Of course, I get the point, we save wages, but it's only good for the financial side of it, because you don't have to pay those Premier League contracts. They have a reduction because, of course, if you listen to what Phil said today on the Squirrel 2, of course, they place those release clauses as an option for the players if they didn't want to stay, because their wages would have been lowered after relegation in their contracts, of course. And of course, it's good for the wages because the acquiring club pays 100% of the wages. For example, Union Berlin pays 100% of the wages of Aronson, as an example. But on another financial, it's good on financial standpoint. On the transfer end, on the other end, it's bad because you don't have fresh money, fresh income to reinvest. on other players. So that's why it's been so slow. If you look at the fact that we had almost 4 million of income and spent 7 million on Ampadu and just 400K for Darlow, it's a little sum, a little investment. And finally, to return to the prior question, it's good because if there is a specific expiry day which is clearly approaching, because players are rushing with the players with the release clause, Adams, Sinisterra, and Aaron Harrison, who has finalized his move to Everton, are rushing to get out of Leeds. They are rushing because they know that if after the expiry date they are still at Leeds, the release clause is gone. And their situation is similar to the one of Gnonto. If they don't want to stay, they have to try and force a move like Gnonto. And they know the consequences now. They know the consequences because it's an internal disciplinary matter now, the one of Gnonto, between the club and the player and his agent.
And his agent, And his agent,
And it would have been mental, it would have been total madness if the club, the previous hierarchy, the previous transfer hierarchy, Rads and Horta, the 49ers, let's remember that. They were minority owners. In a club, the minority owners in the boardroom were the minority. There were 3 other people, Marinelli, Mencucci, and Radrizzani, plus Kinnear, who was hired, by the way, by Rads. So you may suppose where his loyalty lied, in that boardroom. And two 49ers people, Parag and Peter Lau, who was connected for the 49ers, but yes, his own companies, of course, and he's still in the boardroom now that they have with the new board, And the 49ers, of course, were minority. The majority decides in the boardroom. So the main fault for me is the previous ownership, Rads, Horta, and of course, who signs the contract? Who structures the contract? The CEO. Because the director of football is in charge of the sporting side of it. Try to recruit players, find players, and try to reach an agreement with that. But the contractual situation is overseen by the CEO, who's in charge of the finances of the club. So it's that 3. Of course, Kinnear is still at the club. So for me, it's still, of course, the 49ers valuing probably, and it still has a long road to go to start a new chapter, to try to erase the past and try to maybe now that we have 2 proper professionals, Steinson and Hammond, at the club, he may focus on the things he's good at, marketing and finances and other things, But it would have been mental by Horta, the former hierarchy, to place the expiry date at the end of the window, because imagine the window ends on the 21 or the 2nd of September. I don't remember the exact date. But imagine a club arrives and triggers the release clause on the final deadline of the final day of the window, like we did last season when we tried to sign Bamba Dieng and then sign Gnonto, and you don't have the time to bring in a replacement. That would be mental. It cripples the whole season.
Yeah, of course.
So, of course, it's good to have an expiry date before, because imagine that this week we lose Adams and Sinisterra. We have the time to replace them and reinvest the money, because we get money from Adams at least. We don't know if Sinisterra is a loan clause or a lease clause. We have to clarify that in that point. If it's a loan clause, it's the last international loan. So it's done. 7 international loan, and there will be no more loans to other leagues. Can only be domestically. So, for example, to a Premier League club.
Yeah. No, exactly, mate. There's loads to unpick there, but I think there seems to be a bit of confusion in the chat about the loan. The loan, we're assuming, again, we don't know it 100%, but based on the information we do know up to this point, you would assume that the loan and relegation release clauses do have a date that ends. And at that point, like Andrea was mentioning, you're at Leeds. So, for example, let's say the date was tomorrow, midnight tonight. If Tyler Adams doesn't engineer a move by then, we can then demand the fee. His 20 million release clause is gone, and clubs come and we say, well, we want 40 million for him. Oh, well, he's got that's where the club can then hold the cards, if you like. And they hold the cards in the Willie Gnonto situation, hence why he's having to say, I'm not playing, and we're doing disciplinary action because we hold the cards. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of chat that the Gnonto deal will go through. Seem more so from the Everton side. They're still keen on him, even though they signed Jack Harrison. Which is fine, and it's probably best for all parties. But Leeds United, for me, at this stage, will get the money that, because all this talk of Leeds reducing the thing, we've seen with the other football clubs in this division, if you hold steadfast, you will get your money. You've just looked at Brighton in the Premier League. I mean, they could have sold Caicedo to Arsenal in January. Instead, they just got 115 million. They could have sold Ben White to us for 30 instead. He went in the summer to Arsenal for 50. That's how you operate. So let's operate like that. And if Nonto wants to throw his toys out of the pram, let him. Look at Mbappe at PSG. He's done it. Guess what? He's now back with the squad. Because he ain't got what he wanted. And that's what might happen at Leeds. So we'll have to wait and see. But hopefully contract dates are coming to an end, the clauses, Lockie, and we can start to see some incomings then.
It's got to be soon, hasn't it? Given, I think, the rush that it's happened, the last 3-4 days have been, since the game, have been mental. Since the Nonto situation, it's got to be soon. Given as well, it seems Tyler Adams is accepting any club. You know what I mean? There's no...
Yeah.
He's going Chelsea.
As long as I'm in the Premier League, yeah.
So it's definitely soon, I think. Whether it's midnight tonight or maybe tomorrow or the day after, it's very soon. And yeah, like you said, once that is done, it's not ideal in the slightest. But once that is done, and we can fully focus as a club on building the squad, because, like Daniel Farker said, it's hard to build a squad. Well, I don't know if he said this exactly, but like he's been saying, he's been hinting at, hasn't he? It's hard to build a team when you don't know who's going to be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You might focus on a striker, and then suddenly 2 of your centre backs are telling you they want to leave the club. Oh, well, we've got to get centre back now. So it must be hard for him, honestly. But I think when I look at the Norwich situation, same thing. There's a lot of players in that Norwich side when they came down, or a few of them were in the same situation where they wanted to leave and their agents tried to force moves. So what he did was he just dropped them until they realised he's the boss. He makes the decisions, and then they start to play again. And I think Buendia was one of them. And I think Campbell.
Campbell. Because Campbell was linked to Leeds at the time as well.
Quality players. But he put his foot down and said, look, you want to be part of this? I'm the boss. I'm telling you the situation. If you're not fully committed, you won't play. So whether he'll do that Willie Nonto, whether he'll chat with him, we'll see. But I think in this terrible situation we're in this frustrating situation, I wouldn't want anyone better. Does that make sense? I wouldn't want anyone better. I think he's...
No, I get it.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? He's the best person for this job, because he's done it before. So, we need to get... And I think all the guys we had earlier on in the window, I'm glad they went when they did. Now we look at it. Because imagine they're all still here and we're scrambling 7 or 8 players now wanting to leave. It'd be mental. So, get it fit. Just get it sorted as soon as possible so we can move on.
Do you wish, just to stick with you, Lockie, and I know they don't have to do this, but do you wish we had some clarity on it? So we're 100%. Not filling. Yeah. Just why not just come out and tell us, man?
Everything's guesswork. I think there's reasons behind it. Look, like we said, they don't want to know who's leaving because then other clubs will know we're after targets. They can increase values and all that. That makes sense. You look at the Max Aaron stuff, that got leaked. And then it literally, like, if that got leaked an hour later, he'd have already signed for the club. You know what I mean? It's timescales like that. So we have to be really careful. I do get that. And Leeds social media, everything spreads really quickly. But as a fan, you want to know what's going on. You want to know what these deadlines are. You want to know who we're bringing in. But as long as at the end of the window, we've done the business, we can all know for the next window, the window after that, this is kind of the way it is. But that's it. Will we do that business is the question. And it's yet to be known.
Yeah, exactly. We're all hopeful, aren't we, Andrea, that once... that's what I mean. We can't even say with 100%, look, at least when Wednesday comes, we know who's going to be here. We thought it was the... we thought it was going to be the 14th. It may well be. It ends on the 14th, and from tomorrow it might not be. I'm not too sure. We need something, but I think we live in hope, don't we? That at that point, because no matter what, they cannot go into the season with this squad, especially when you consider, like I say, I went back and watched the Parag interview and some of the stuff that he was saying now at this moment in time. Of course, by the end of the window, it might change. But everything he said in that, you're like, no, you haven't done any of that. You do this in your sleep. Well, fucking go back to bed or something. I don't know, because nothing's happening. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I have the sense that trying to understand the way they communicate, and interact with the fan base and use their communication on editorial line. I think we won't hear from them till the end of the window, till the transfer window ends. So after we have the final squad at the end of the window with the transfer window shot, I think we'll hear from them back then. And honestly, if it was for me, I would have explained this situation now, because there's clearly a communication vacuum on this situation. There's no clarity on the fans. I'm trying to understand the situation, but we're normal fans. We're not financial experts. So, but the problem is Farke is a great manager, and has on his shoulders the whole weight of the situation right now, because he's the only one speaking, because he's the only one having press conferences, interviews, because of the game. So the journalists are asking him everything about the whole situation, but he's the manager. He shouldn't be the one explaining certain situations, the only one at least explaining certain situation. And in every press, in every interview, he keeps saying with the financial situation, the loan, the clauses after relegation. Every press conference says that. So there will be, he said also too, that there will be a time where we explain the situation better after Sinisterra.
Yeah.
The time should be now, because in every press conference, he's saying that, of course, because he is probably frustrated by the fact that players aren't coming in, and he has to play Shackleton on the right. He has to play Rodon up front because we don't have a 100% fit strikers on the bench, And of course, he's trying to get the fans to understand better the situation, but he shouldn't be the one doing that. It should be the club. And I think the fans are referring to Parag based on what he said in his interview. If they explain the situation better right now, it would have helped them massively, both the 49ers and the Farke, because the fans will understand better the situation, and they will understand that the 49ers and the new management, Hammond and Stenson, they have their hands tied, but not by them, but by the previous transfer hierarchy. So it will help them massively, because it's not their fault. Of course, they were part of the club, they were minority owners. We don't know if Parag, sitting in the boardroom, agreed with what the Reds was doing, his strategy, or not. We can know that because they have not talked about that openly, publicly. We can only suppose if he was aligned with him or not. But even if he was aligned or not, he was still a minority owner. And in the end, even if he was against it in the boardroom in terms of votes, it was overruled, because there were 3 as a people plus 1, the CEO. And honestly, I think a communication like they did with Gnonto, there was a lot of speculation, rumors, fake news spreading. They released a press statement, and that was great.
Settled it, didn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. It helped the fans understand the whole situation, and the fans were aligned and backed the decision of the club. They backed the decision of the club and explained the whole situation, that press statement. And that was great on a communication point of view. I think something similar should be done. But I think they will do that after the end of the window. Honestly, they should have done probably at the start of the window to help us understand better the whole situation and what we were looking for, because apart from that, we were just relying on aggressive transfer window, while the situation was different in the end. And now we'll understand that better when they'll talk about that later, and I think they will talk about that after the window shuts,
And just to talk about what Farke's situation here. So I listened to what Phil Hay said on the Square Ball. Willie Gnonto was about to board
the bus, right? Wow.
Yeah.
And then said, "No, I can't board it." That's the
what
situation right now.
What a little shit!
That's the situation the coach has to deal with. Like, it's crazy. It really is.
It's horrible, that, isn't it? Like, about to board the bus. Like, why not do it the morning? Why not do it?
Yeah.
I can hear you, Joe.
Oh yeah, you're muted.
Joe,
I don't think you can hear us either.
Joe, you're muted. No.
People in the chat.
The microphone had the release close, and he has decided to move. And
Joe's agent, stop him speaking. He's going to say too much.
It's censorship. We're in a dictatorial regime. Censorship. Joe has been censored.
Leeds are listening. They're onto us. Parag's listening. He's in the chat.
No, until Joe is back, CDK, someone was asking about him. He's gone to Atalanta. Yeah.
Who's that?
De Ketelaere.
Oh yeah, he's gone to Atlanta. Isn't he? That's interesting, isn't it?
No, but I agree overall. Still can you, Joe? No. Try to unplug the mic and try to replug the mic.
Yeah, this is auto, isn't it? The lock's there, so it's auto.
The old trick.
Yeah. All right, this is our show.
Okay, Joe has activated his release clause. And now we control.
If you're on a Bournemouth podcast in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to do a chat with Tyler Adams in 10 minutes.
About Nyontoloki, for me, he's been ill-advised, but
100%.
It's his fault too, because he has a brain, and honestly, I'm disappointed, really disappointed by his attitude. You know, he was described by everyone like a very composed and professional lad, young lad, of course. Even in Italy, you know, the interview he done, he did when he break through, especially talked out about Leeds, and everything changed. You know, from him, like we've seen on Lewis' video, you know, from the stands, pushing and incitating the crowd, you know, to him 2 days later, just not going on the bus, but he's been ill-advised, and it's also a dead end from him, you know. Absolutely, because there's no way out. He has a contract.
That's it. I think, he definitely has been ill-advised, but like you said, he's a smart lad. You know, everyone says that he's had a good upbringing. You know, he's humble. You know, he's been brought up well. He's a smart guy. He knows the situation, and he made a wrong choice, and he's now suffering for that. And that's what happens in life when you're young as well. You make mistakes. Maybe in a few years, maybe soon, you'll realize he made a mistake. I don't know. That's down to him, isn't it? At the end of the day, that's his choice. To see. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, the real problem is that it's different, you know, to Sinisterra. Sinisterra has a release clause, so forcing a move is in his hands, because if a club arrives and pays the release clause, he can go. He can go. Nyonto can do that because he doesn't have a release clause.
And that's on his agent for not getting one.
Exactly. I was thinking about it early this afternoon. You know, his agent is terrible, because if you look at the last contracts this season and the signing of last season, Aronson, Christensen, Roca, Llorente, the new contract, of course, Sinisterra, they all had a clause, you know. The only signing from last season who didn't have a clause was Nyonto, actually. Yeah. He was the only one not having a clause.
His agent's messed up. I mean, a lot of that might be down to the fact that we did only buy him for, what was it, 3 to 4 million, something like that?
Yeah, so, we paid around 5, and especially...
I guess they didn't know how it developed, really, in the Prem, so they couldn't really put a definitive clause in, but that's an L from his agent, honestly. It's his fault he's in this situation.
I think it's also that situation, you know, the fact that and compared to the other ones, for example, as Sinisterra just played in a Europa Conference League final, you know, coming from final. Nyonto came from Zurich, and it was a player making a very big jump to the top league in Europe. So that's why probably the club, in a rare moment of good thinking, you know, they didn't put a release clause in his contract, and now we can consider him an asset and ask, of course, if we change our stance, about 25-30 million for me, but that's mainly why, you know. And
do you think we sell him? There's a chat as well. What do they think? They think we'll not all go in this window.
Well, I think in the end, you know, it's like I was going with Echo. Here he comes. Try to talk.
You can't hear me.
Oh wait,
the same. Wow. I'm really really sorry about that, folks. I had to restart my computer. I don't know what happened there. It just
Chelsea
muted on me.
Chelsea have not decided to sign you.
No, definitely not.
Talks break down, Joe, did they?
Yeah, talks broke down, mate. I was talking about Nyonto, wasn't I? The word I was looking for. So I was saying, like, for me, it lacks balls to say it on the moment you're about to get onto the bus. Like, he's probably like panicking, when can I say it? When can I say it? It also tells me that his agent's been in his ear as well, because like he was ready to get on the bus, and then the agent's gone, just tell him you can't get on. You can't get on now, son. You know what I mean? And that's how it's developed. So yeah, it is what it is. Just just really, really poor current situation we have. But listen, if the reports are true, and just before we do touch on, folks, I just want to mention that we do have 1,600 people watching, and we've only got 576 likes. So if you could do me a favor and all smash a like on the video, it'd be massively appreciated, because get them
like the Roman Emperor.
Oh. Yeah. As I restarted, I just heard Lockie go, "I don't know what to say." It's a lot harder than it looks, right? Having to.
We had a good chat about that. I had a wobble in the middle of it, but after that we got over it.
Yeah, that's good.
We were joined also by Skubala, Armas, and Paco Gallardo during that period.
Nice. So, striker. Leeds United are in the hunt for one. We need many other positions as well, but the line from the YEP today from Graham Smith was that Leeds have a bid. It wasn't even a case of, they're if the one. It says the YEP understands. Let me just get the exact quote so I can tell you what it was. So the exact quote was, the YEP understands that Leeds have lodged a bid for an as of yet unnamed striker. Okay. So we've been linked to a lot of strikers through this transfer window. We've put some forward ourselves. Main one being Joel Polipano, but there's been others linked. The three that are on the thumbnail and ones that we're going to focus on are ones probably that a lot of us would like to come in. There's some that are unknown. I don't know so much about, say, Tom Cannon, for example. The lads have done a little bit of research, so we're gonna have a chat about them. Should we start with Tom Cannon then? Because I've seen a few people mention him in the comments. He's currently at Everton, right? He was on loan previously at Preston, I think. So
Preston,
yeah. Who wants to talk to us about?
I'll go Lockie if you like, because there's a report about.
I'll go off on Archer. I'll let you do.
Okay. The better one. You chose the better one. No. I wanted to talk about him because there's reports about him in Italy too, because Sampdoria are interested in him too. Our old friend. Coming back to haunt us, Rads. Of course, they say basically that Preston are interested in loaning him back in, like last season, and he's open to that. Okay. But there's also interest with the permanent from other clubs, and Everton value him 8/9 million euros. So if a club arrives and pays that sum, they surpass Preston, because Preston want him on loan, of course, and they can have him from a permanent. But I think, for me, I talked about him when we did the scouting report, because I think he's a very promising young lad. Of course, he was born in 2002. So he's a young player. He had this first shot at senior football last season with Preston. Did very well for me, because if you look at his stat, he played 20 games. And 8 goals and 1 assist in the championship. And if you look, his last run of games, he scored basically 8 goals in the last 15 games, basically.
Yeah.
So he was on fire, really. And like I said the last time when I talked about him, if a player is contended by Ireland and England, because right now he plays for the Republic of Ireland youth national teams. There's a reason, the last ones were Declan Rice and Jack Grealish to make the switch from the young, the youth Irish national team to England. Of course, Rice played at 3 caps for the Republic of Ireland too before switching back to England. Like I said last time, for me it reminds me a lot of Shane Long. Honestly, to be fair, he has a similar style of play for me. He is very good when he has space in front of him, can play in various positions for me. He used to play a lot, of course, because his main position as the number 9, but he can easily play in the number 10 as a second striker, of course, not as an income player, or on the wing. So should I consider him a starter? No, honestly, I go for others, other players to start. But what
is there a risk Is there a risk that someone like Tom Cannon is brought in to share minutes with Bamford?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you want that? I don't want that. I need
no, I don't want that. Honestly, I'll bring him in. My idea is that what we've learned from this preseason and from the cameo at Birmingham is that Jorginho Rutter is not a number 9, and especially if we sell Sinisterra and Harrison, there's gaps on the wings.
Yeah,
we were full wingers. Now we're short of wingers too. We had to play Shakhtar on the right. It's
that's so true. It's mad, isn't it?
Exactly. Exactly. We can.
Do you know? Can I just ask you, Zom Rutter?
Yeah.
I'm really not convinced it's ever going to work.
I think the reason I'm not there yet, and I get why you are, because he's not been playing well. He hasn't, has he? Let's be honest,
No.
He really hasn't.
He hasn't done anything good, has he, Lockie? What's he done that's been good?
He hasn't. I'm
Nothing.
not going to deny that. The only reason I like him is obviously I like his attributes. I like what he did in Germany. I thought when he played there, he looked more free, he looked more relaxed in Germany. I think Daniel Farke's taken a liking to him, and he said that as soon as he came in. And the fact that he's still around as well, I still think there's a player who's got the right attributes to have a high potential. I want to see him. I want to see him out wide. Don't get me wrong. If he plays out wide and he doesn't have it right, he's not ready. He's not right for English football. That's fair enough. But it's like when Dan James got put up front. I don't like it. We're not going to see what's best there for him. I think he's all right in the build-up, but it's better when he's going forward with the ball, not when his back's turned and he has to turn with it. I don't like him in that role. I like him when he's got space in front of him and we're in transition. I think he's really good in that role. But until we see that, we can't say he's going to be world class. We say he's got the attributes for it. Well, not to be world class, but to be good in this league. But it's hard. It is hard to judge a player when you've not seen a lot from them. It is. But I just think I like the way Farke's, when he first came in and the way what he said about him. He mentioned him saying he wants to play him further wide. I think he's had a word with him. Otherwise, I think he had a player that could have left, given he didn't have a great time in the Prem when he came in. But he's still here. I just think Farke's took a liking to him, and I think I'm going on his judgment.
And I guess he wants to stay as well, Lockie. Whereas the others,
he does, and he's a player for me who does. I believe. I'm not saying I'm right. I might be wrong. I could be completely wrong. But he's a player for me who has attributes to have high potential.
Yeah,
like you can just look at when he played in Germany. When he used to come on the pitch, he'd tear people apart. He'd run at them. He'd take them on. He'd score some beautiful goals. He's just not that player here yet, and he does have to find it quickly because our patience will run out. And even me, who's done a video on him on how we all work, my patience will run out with him as well. He's a bit in limbo at the moment. I do want to see him on the wings. I really do.
Yeah, me too. Me too, because he's not a number 9. Yes, in all the play, he's not physical enough. We've seen when he came on, the foul he committed on an aerial duel with the Birmingham player. He doesn't have the rhythm and the tempo to play in English football yet. He's not suited, and he's not even fit well right now at this exact moment in English football. Especially the timing of his run. I don't like that right now. Of course, he's coming back from an injury, but even when he played when he came on at Accrington, the other games that he played last season, I think they'll need to play him on the wing, and then because it's where he played better in Germany. If you go and see some of his goals in Germany, he liked it to start on the wing and turn centrally and try to find
every time he did something well. Exactly. From what I saw, he's from wide, so
exactly. He can hold the line. He can hold the line up front. He cannot hold the line up front. So honestly, I'll move him on the wing. Then I'll spend some of the Adams money on a crucial number 9, and try to bring in another striker, maybe Poyampalo with the 3 million, because 3 million is a cheap option. Yeah, and then you have the crucial, the top guy up front, the number 9, Poyampalo and Bamford. And if you bring in Cannon can be used to play in the number 10 or used to play on the on the wings, because you have two places on the wing.
I'm just gonna throw this up as well, which was put up by Tom Carnduff earlier on, who was at Sporting Life, and he's a Leeds fan, and he flashed up this earlier on, and you can see there that's Tom Cannon's stats while in the Championship. But you can see from that heat map there, can't you, that he can, and has spent time on the left and on the right. Like you've met, if you look where the most prominent bits are on the right and left, aren't they, as opposed to through the middle.
And he's a runner. And I think in that specific department, I call it department because I don't have a specific, a better term right now. Sam Greenwood, Joffy is struggling. Sam Greenwood will need a loan for me, like I said multiple times in the past.
Yeah. Can I ask you on them two as well? They haven't got it either.
Who? Sam Greenwood and who's the other? Sorry,
Joffy.
Joffy. Yeah,
I think Greenwood and Perkins. I'll keep Joffy around, to be fair.
I just don't see what. I don't know, but we've got to have them, of course. I'm not like saying, but yeah, it's mad. And I guess, they'd be given more time if we'd have stayed in the Premier League. It just at the minute, it's like, I just keep being reminded as well of those people that said it'd be good if we go down to reset. It's got to be one of the worst resets in history, this, isn't it? Bloody hell.
Yeah, exactly. And especially the other thing that I forgot to say before, of course, we save wages we avoid the loss this season, but eventually the value of those players, because apart from Koch, who is out of contract next summer and will leave for a free, and probably Roca with Betis, the other won't get straight away in the starting 11, so they'll be substitute, and the transfer value will drop again. So eventually, if we sell them next season, the loss will come anyway. It's just delayed.
Yeah. Well, so Tom Cannon, did you say 8 million?
They say in Italy 8-9 million euros. So
pricey, no?
Yeah.
What does that convert to? About 6?
6 or 7 million pounds. Yeah, I think.
Seems quite a large outlay for him.
6 million.
Do you think, lad? So.
Yeah, it's a little bit too high, but
especially
if we sell Neonto, we can try to put the Cannon in.
I guess you are paying for potential, and it's not 35 million for potential; it's 7 million for potential. So
yeah,
that's
sounds fair. Yeah,
that's a good point.
Let's just say quick as well on him. One thing I've noticed from the goals he scored last year, he can score different types. He can be that guy in the middle of the box as well. He's done that quite a lot in some of his goals. Score from set pieces, cutting in. So quite rangy in where he scores from.
Cool. And the mad thing is, like you say, we might need people in scoring from like right and left, as opposed to, because we all thought we were stacked in the wing. It looks looking pretty bleak now in all areas of the pitch, really. The only area that's probably sufficiently covered is goalkeeper. And you only need one of them, really, don't you, on a match day? So it's what it is. It's all a bit mad. One that's really exciting, of course, is Cameron Archer. So this was I seen it initially come from Ben Jacobs. I actually spoke to Ben earlier on. I tried to get him on, but he's currently in Saudi. I don't know what he's doing there, but he said when he comes back next week, he'll come on the show. So provided there's still some stuff to chat about, we'll speak to Ben hopefully next week. But he put that out there that that Leeds were considering a move. One Leeds fan channel, Connor, put out a tweet to say that Villa want a buyback clause. I spoke to Connor and he'd had that confirmed by people close to Villa. And we know with the move for Ramsey to Burnley, that also has a buyback clause in. I think Villa are being very smart in that respect to say, let's see if they can do it at a certain level and then we'll buy them back. It's what City did with Lavia. Unfortunately, Southampton got relegated, which means their release clause. Anyway, you don't need to know about that. But basically, it's what these top clubs are doing. Basically, now the gap's so big now, even in the Premier League, that these top clubs can afford to say, yeah, you can have him for a bit, but we will put a buyback clause in. So they're monopolising everything now, from top to bottom. It is what it is. There's nothing we can do to change that, unfortunately, unless you get a mega rich owner like Newcastle did. But the chat was as well on Archer. They're willing to let him leave once an incoming happens. And Andrea, do you want to just give us a little bit of an update on Zaniolo? Because I think that's quite close, isn't it? Fabrizio Romano give it the here we go. He's coming, which then might free up Archer, right?
Yeah, exactly. And let me search the tweet while I talk to him, because there's a specific figures about that. Yeah, he has the same agent as Neonto, as we all know. Yeah, so he was frozen out of the squad at Roma and didn't get a move back in January. Then he moved to Galatasaray, of course, and now they are trying to force a move too. And he says, Fabrizio, 4 million loan fee to Villa, and the salary covered by, of course, Villa. And then they have a buy option with 22 million and 4 million of add-ons. So it's basically 27 million euros in the package. Of course, it's a different player for me. Zaniolo, I like him more when he plays on the wings. So I don't know.
They're bringing him. I think they want him for a Buendia replacement, right? With his injury, right?
Exactly. He's a similar type of player. So maybe maybe free space for Archer to go. So surely, of course, they need depth because they will play in the Conference League, and then in the end they'll try to win the competition, like West Ham did, of course, because the level is so disconnected, from the top clubs of the top leagues to the clubs of no offense, of Cyprus, Lithuania, and Latvia, for example. Yeah, it's true. Unfortunately, it's true. It gets better towards the later stages of the competition for me.
Yeah,
but it's more like a Buendia replacement. They still have Keenan Davis too. Yeah, I think. So maybe I think it will make sense to send out Archer on loan or either with a buy option. But if Aaron Ramsey played at Borough with Archer, they sold him to Burnley. They were selling to Burnley, of course, with a buyback option. I think that specific buyback option with a permanent will suit better in Villa's eyes with a Premier League club. I think if they send him to the Championship, it will be a straight loan again for me. That's how I view it.
So you don't think they would sell him to? You don't think they would sell him to us? It'd just be a loan.
Yeah, for me, yes, because if you look at what they did with Ramsey, Ramsey was at Borough with, it was his first season in the Championship, because the season before he was at Cheltenham. Aaron Ramsey, the Villa one, not the Welsh one. They loaned him out to Borough. He did good things there. Then they sold him permanently to Burnley in the Premier League with a buyback option. And it would make sense to them to sell him permanently, Cameron Archer, to another Premier League club. With a good style of football, like Burnley with Company, for example, and then place a buyback clause again there, of course, like City did with Lavia, because the clause was set to be activated in 2024.
Before we do speak on Archer, and I don't want to throw water on it, but Billy, who's an Aston Villa content creator, actually messaged me about Harrison yesterday, and he'd said about how Villa are trying to look after, keeping everything in their own hands, like with the Aaron Ramsey deal, and maybe Cam Archer too. And I'd said to him, I'd love Cam Archer, and he believes that he might go to a Premier League club. And he says Sheffield United's been named a couple of times as well, which sort of coincides with what you're saying. But look, there is a link there. On Keenan Davis as well. Someone actually tweeted me about that earlier on. Would that be an option if we? I don't know much about him, you see.
I don't like him, to be fair. I think he used to play when he was on loan at Watford, was it? Yeah. I think it was Watford. Yeah. But in terms of age and weight, of course he's a physical player, and we need physical players. But honestly, it's not my preferred type of striker. Yeah, he was at Forest, and I remember him at Forest actually. And last season he was at Watford. 7 goals in 34 games. But if you look at Forest too, I don't think he played. Yeah, he had 5 goals in 15 appearances with Forest as they got promoted in the final. But honestly, it's not the type of player I like, to be fair.
It's not a goal scorer, is he?
Yeah, for the system too, it's not. He never played Farke with a proper tall and physical number 9 up front. If you look at all his team, he had Thuram, who was an adapted winger. He had Pukki and had from the bench Rhodes and Agil, but as a substitute, not as the main guy.
No, for sure. Let's talk about Cam Archer then. And do you want you want to go? Because I know you're a massive, massive fan of his Lockie. I will just flash up this graphic while you're chatting about him as well, which shows the numbers that he did in the championship. Go ahead, mate.
Yeah. Cameron Arch is brilliant. And yeah, I like on what you just said, Joe. It's a very difficult one. I've been saying that. You know, I did a video a few months ago on the 5 strikers I want. He was the top of the list. Since then, he did well at the year. He did well. Was it the year of the World Cup of England? I can't remember which one it was. Did well there. His value has going to have been all right pre-season for Villa, but they want to sell him. I do believe he's too good for the Championship, to be honest. I think he's done his stint in the Championship. Last season, he came in January and scored 11 goals and 6 assists in 20 games. Like that's 16 goal involvements in 20 games in the league. That's phenomenal. I just think potentially he might be too big for us. Like he's a Premier League player, in my opinion. And like I said, with Sheffield United, that makes sense. Just come up. But the interesting thing for me is the value as well. How much he's not going to be cheap. This guy is a young English striker who's done well in the Championship. 15 to 20 million. Honestly, I don't see it less than that. Look, if we can pull this off, put it this way, if we can pull this off, that is a statement signing. Genuinely, like if we sign Cameron Archer, that is us, even on loan, loan to buy, whatever. If we go up, we buy him, one of those type of things. If we get Cameron Archer at Leeds United next year, we mean business. And that shows the ambition that we have. So last season, he was on loan at Middlesbrough. Didn't really play much first half of the season, went to Middlesbrough in January. Like I said, 11 goals, and as you see the stats there, 11 goals and 6 assists in 20 games is brilliant. Him and Chuba Akpom up top for Middlesbrough was a danger. And they're in trouble now because they've lost both of their goal scorers. But for me, he's just the type of player, he can kind of do everything. He's quick. You can run in behind. He's very good on the ball, running at defenders. He can cut in, like we said before. You showed the graphic there. You can cut in from wide, score all types of goals. It's a decent 1v1 finisher, which is something we've lacked in years, having someone at one-on-ones who can just finish a chance. But, that's the reason, I always liked him, because he's just a goal scorer as well. He can score goals. He's got all these different attributes, but as a striker, he can score. Not one of these strikers who can, can hold it up. He scores goals. He's direct. He scores goals. He's good to watch. And in the right, and genuinely in a Daniel Farke style, in a Daniel Farke system, I think he absolutely destroys the Championship. Seriously do. But one thing I want to talk about is his record. So he went on loan to Preston season before last, like Tom Cannon did. And in 20 games, he got 7 goals and 1 assist. Similar to what Tom Cannon got last season, and he's a year older than Tom Cannon. So that's why it makes me think, if it is Tom Cannon, you look at the trajectory, second year in the Championship, these young strikers tend to do better, like Archer did. So Tom Cannon might do a lot better than he did last year, given the trajectory of Cameron Archer. So that might be something Leeds are looking at. But yeah, Cameron Archer has always been that one for me. Just like Oscar Bob, those two are the two I want more than any. I know Connor likes Oscar Bob as well. I saw him tweet earlier. So
Bob the Builder.
Yeah, that's what it'll be, honestly. But like you said, Joe, difficult one. But we were so close to getting Mark Clarence. And we got Ampadu, who would have been a difficult one. Best believe there would have been top tier teams wanting him. We've just got to show ambition in these meetings that we have with these players. We've got to show that we mean business. But if a Premier League team comes in for Archer, you've no chance.
You can hear me?
Yep.
Oh, good. It was muted again, and I was like, oh god, it's because the dog's snoring here underneath my feet. But yeah, we've already seen that, mate, with Hamer. Let's be real. This is the thing, right? Like when people are like sniffing the noses up at Bournemouth or whatever. Gus Hamer is going to go to Sheffield United now. When he's realistic and honest with himself, Sheffield United are coming down, right? Sheffield United are coming down, but it's an opportunity for him to move to that football club and showcase his skills for a season in the Premier League. And that's what it's about. It's about putting yourself in the shop window. Like at the end of the day, he could get a move to another Premier League club, like a lot of our players have, or get a move elsewhere. He's South American, right? He's Brazilian and Dutch, right? Both.
Yeah, Dutch, yeah. Grew up in Netherlands, yeah.
Right, but he's got Brazilian in him, right?
Yeah, he's born in Brazil, then moved as a kid in the Netherlands. So he surely can. He will be called up by the Netherlands at some point.
Yeah. But he's got like dual nationality, so there'd be a lot of clubs looking at him maybe on the Europe's other top 5 leagues, and where can he get noticed the most? In the Premier League. So that's bang on in what look, long term, Leeds United, after having conversations with the ownership, may seem like a better project. But ultimately, we're not in the Premier League. Like, no disrespect to Sheffield United. I like Sheffield United, actually, in terms of the Yorkshire rivalries. I don't mind them. My point is, project-wise, it's not great. The ownership at the minute, it's not great. Like, behind the scenes, it is not great. If you actually sat a player and we were both in the same league, there's only one winner. But the fact that they're in the Premier League, they're always going to get players over us, unfortunately. We have to, come to that realization, don't we? So,
yeah. And that's why, for me, Tom Cannon is probably the most realistic one. I think he's at the level Archer was last season, where he's now looking for that better championship loan, top tier championship loan. And well, we're not there yet, are we? But we have ambitions to be that. And I actually, I think in a 46 game season, I think he can get 15 to 20 goals if he's played right in the right system. I generally do. The last 15 games, got 8 goals for Preston last year, who were an all right side, nothing great. So. I'd be happy with Cannon, just to say that. I would.
Yeah, as an option. I still think we need another number 9, because if you look, for example, at Leicester, of course, someone may leave. They have Iheanacho, Dak, and Vardy.
Yeah.
If you look at Saints, they have Adams, Adam Armstrong, and Sikumara, for example. So at least you have to get 3 options. And honestly, right now we have Rutter was not a number 9. Joffy was not physical enough to play the number 9 right now, and Bamford was currently injured. So.
Mateo?
Yeah, Joseph. Okay. I forgot about Joseph before. So if you keep Joseph, maybe Joe was right about saying you should send Gerrard on loan again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. Sorry, I've just read a tweet there. Like, this is a mad thing. This is why it's corrupt in the Premier League as well. Like, Gary O'Neill has already spoken to the head of the PGMLO, who've said he should have had a penalty and it was an obvious error. Like, see what I mean? Like, why wasn't the decision made at the time? So it's only been an hour since full time. This is what I mean. It's so frustrating. It's bottle jobs is what it is. Those that are making the decisions last minute at Old Trafford to now admit that the PGMLO say, yeah, we've made an error. Well, that'd have dropped points. Anyway, it's infuriating. Let's get some super chats in before we continue. Please smash the likes, folks. We're so close to 1K likes as well. We are currently sat on 850. So if you could like the video, that'd be great. There's 1,500 people here. T Lead says sign Cameron Jerome instead of Archie is the answer. Where is Cameron Jerome now? Is he League One?
Walton, yeah.
League One, okay. Colin Kerwin says we all put in a tenner and get Andrea over to Leeds with the list of players and hand it into the board. Very hard to stay positive without any players inbound. Come on, Leeds, 2-0 against West Brom. We reboot. We've been saying this this reboot thing for quite some time. And do we is it around the corner? Like, I have no confidence. I'm hopeful, but there's nothing tells me that I'm confident that we will sign anyone at this time. 17 days. Just 17 days, it's not long, folks. Not long at all.
And the reboot for me, I think if we get past these clauses and the inheritance and all the trash left behind by the previous owner by the previous people in the house, especially the former director of football, with all these contracts. If we get past this window and we sell ASAP the players with those clauses who are willing to go, because if they decide by their own will, like Sinisterra, to sit out of a game, that's too American, sorry, to not take part in a game, to refuse to play. They want to go. It's clear. And we cannot hold them because they have a release clause. So let's take the money, reinvest the money, bring in players, because Farke deserves to have the players to play his system, because he's shown that is a good system. This is a good system, but he's playing currently since the start of preseason without a number 9 and number 10 and an attacking fullback. These are the three.
Any depth.
And only depth too, exactly, because especially if you look at the friendlies that we played with the second lines, the substitutes, or the game with of course with Shrewsbury, where you played the youngsters from the beginning. There's no depth, and apart from the starting 11, the squad is average, mid-table.
Average. Very average, bro. We seen that on Saturday. It was brutal, weren't it? I didn't get to chat to yous because you were busy last night on the final word. But in terms of a spectacle, it was worse. But from Leeds United perspective, just solely on Leeds, there is no quality there was no quality in that 11 that was out there.
No, yeah. I did a video on obviously match reaction, and so my 4 point was, especially the front four, predominantly they're squad players. They're not first team players, and I think they know that. I don't think they were expecting to play. I don't think they merited to play, because as a squad player is important in a team, right? You need them when we go up. We had them under Bielsa's, and Shackleton was one of them. When he came in, he did a good job. That's a squad player. A squad player should not be a player who starts every game. They're not a star. They're a squad player. So for them to then, Shackleton, you're playing right wing today. He's probably gone, how do I do that? In training all week, you prepare for games. Shackleton's not been preparing right wing in training.
No, and that's why we overload on the left wing instead, because the ball never got to the right wing. And that's what I was saying. Falke deserves players now. We need to hurry up, and if there's offers and clubs triggering those release clauses, we need to get those things settled as soon as possible, so we can reinvest the money and give the players to Falke, so he can start to adapt them and let them fit into the squad, because the time is running out. Like I said in the past, before the start of the season, I said I really hope we bring in a number 9 before the start of the season, because that's, apart from the 10 and the fullback, that's a crucial position inside the system, and that's a trial period. Let's call it like that, where the players needs to adapt to the new system, will occur right now into the season, and it's not a year for the manager, because they will take time to adapt to the new system. But my thought is, if we get past this window, we'll be okay for a while. The January transfer window will be okay if we need to invest in the squad. But then next summer is some of those ruins of the previous ownership will come back to haunt us, because the loanees will return to the club, and if we are still in the championship, we haven't got promoted, those players will come back with their Premier League wages, and that will be a problem, and their transfer value dropped, so there will be a loss anyway. So that's why it's vital for me to invest right now, get past this window, invest if it's necessary in January to get back to the Premier League at the first time of asking, because if it's not, we'll have a vast squad. And we'll have situations similar to the one of Elder Costa, with players going out on loan again, probably, and then going out on loan until their contract runs out, because their transfer value, we paid 17 million for Costa, drops down season after season. And the only way we can try to avoid a loss in terms of wages in that case, it's loan the player again out season after season till his contract runs out. And that's why the situation of Costa is difficult too. Of course, he's in his last year of his contract. No one is interested in acquiring him for a permanent, because he used to play in Saudi Arabia before it was a common, like season. So no one is interested in a permanent. The only way you send the player out, is on loan, but there's no offers. The other way is terminate his contract, but he doesn't want to terminate his contract for sure, because it's a Premier League contract made when we acquired him with the buy option, with the mandatory buy option clause. So if we get past this window, we'll be okay for a while. But then next summer, if we don't get promoted, for me, is again, we'll have this problem of these players returning from loan again. So the reboot will be temporary for me.
Yeah.
Can I just to jump in, Andrea, can you just check Calcim Mercato for me? Gianluca Di Marzio's just mentioned #Helder for incomings. I'm not sure who for. You'll probably know better. For Salernitana, and I know he was linked to them in the past. It's just come out now.
Okay, Yelder. So Yelder. Okay, Yelder's going to Salernitana. Okay.
Is that actually, because that's just come from? That's just on Twitter now for Gianluca.
Gianluca Di Marzio, yeah.
Can be closed by Thursday.
Di Marzio is absolutely 100% reliable. So it's surely true. Now I try to check again on Salernitana to see if it's a loan on a permanent, because it's not disclosed here.
I can't understand the Hjelde one, because I know we can. Jamie, I agree with you in this, mate. I do agree with you in this point. But what I'm saying is, if he's going, then what the feck's going on? Because what if Sam Byron brought down? With fact, what is actually going on at this football club? Really, come on. Let's be realistic now. What is going on?
The only option I can get into my mind is if they are selling or loaning out Hjelde, they probably have a substitute ready to come in, because it would be mental to leave just Byram on the left without any other option with Firpo and.
Are you surprised at the state of the football club right now?
Yeah, because of course it's not ideal, but
like
what I say, Joe, they need to fill this communication vacuum to help us understand better what's going on. Of course.
Yeah. And Gavin, I'm not disagreeing with you, but it also comes down to this is what I was saying to people last year when they were saying you need to get rid of all the old guard in one full swoop. Ultimately, you need to have a squad, people. We had 8 players on the bench. We couldn't fill out the bench, and 2 of them were goalkeepers. So therefore, we had 3 goalkeepers in our squad. Now, I'm not for any stretch of the imagination saying that, oh no, we need to keep Hjelde he must. Although people, when I was telling people he was poor after the first pre-season game, were telling me, oh, we don't need a left back. Leo's all right. Do you know what I mean? It's madness. But what I'm saying is, it's still not acceptable that we can be just going, yeah, you get you sent off, because we haven't. And I'm not. And those that are saying Strout can. No, man. Why are we now? Like, people are trying to defend this decision. I'm not saying he's good, but yeah, already the comments go, yeah, but we've got Strout that can play. What?
Well, I will say, Joe, with this happening, this means we have to sign a left back.
Exactly.
We have to. Whether that is what's happening, we won't. We'll probably find out in the next. If tomorrow there's no left back links, then what are we doing? What on earth are we doing?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying.
But if we don't know yet, because it's not tomorrow yet, but we have to.
Right, we have to do that.
Abysmal. It's abysmal right now, man. Isn't it? Really?
Yeah, we have to sign a left back now. That is.
Yeah.
Are we? I don't know.
We'll find out. But if this time tomorrow and there's been nothing on it and he's gone, that's just an extra less player we have going into the weekend.
Exactly, and Farke will be even more frustrated, of course. But honestly, another thing we should consider is that no one saw this coming too. There's nothing going through the door, by the club. Even this transfer for Hjelde, no one saw it coming. No one on the ground at Leeds too, and it's mental because there's no whisper. Even this transfer of Hjelde, of course, is coming from the Salernitana side, because Di Marzio is Italian and he has every night at this specific hour a program, in Italy. So of course, someone at Salernitana or as of course, told him that they are acquiring Hjelde. It's not from the Leeds side. Everything is shut down. There's no rumors, nothing going out of the factory. Let's call it like that. But yeah, like I just tweeted, it is mandatory if you sell or loan out Hjelde that they have another left back lined up, ready to sign. Because you cannot go into the weekend playing, for example, Shakhtar as a left back.
Bro, the way Leeds United are, I can guarantee Byram will get injured on Friday night. I'm telling you right now. Then what?
I'm looking at that team, right? Looking at the weekend. We're literally an Ampadu injury away.
From bottom of the league, bro. From bottom of the league.
Imagine that team from Birmingham without Ampadu in it. Take him out.
If I can say that, because also we need to consider Salernitana are in Italy. So if it's a loan, it will be an international loan, but he's 19. He's under 21. So it doesn't count as the 7 international loan. There's like one spot open,
Do you know what as well? Like, I've seen a few people make that comment of like, oh, but that means Cine can't go. They won't be able to do that. Like, that'd be breach of the contract to Cine. Otherwise, we'd just loan everyone out quick time and say, tough shit, mate, we've loaned them all out. We'd be in trouble for that. Leeds would get in trouble for that, for allowing themselves to get. And ultimately, they'd probably have to sell him because the player would go, well, it's in my contract. Leeds are saying by FIFA, and FIFA or whoever made that rule, FIFA, UEFA would be like, well, you Leeds are in the wrong here. There's no way that they can suddenly do that to then make Cine stay. Not for me. I'm right.
Do
right?
we know if
loan with option to buy,
loan random players out? So that's wrong.
Do we know if does he have a contract clause in his contract? Do we know that?
Yelda? No, I don't think so because he signed in.
So we've decided as a club to loan him out.
Yeah, exactly. He signed in.
Got to have a lineup straight away, surely.
He signed in 2021, so for me, it doesn't have a relegation clause. And I'm reading what they're reporting here in Italy, and on Salerno based, he has the same agent as Bohinen and Botheim, the two Norwegians. I mentioned Bohinen in the past in one of the scouting reports. In the for the midfielders, he has the same agent of the two Norwegians who are already at Salernitana, and they mention it like a loan with option to buy. So of course it doesn't count as an international loan. So there's still one spot open because Yelda is 19 and the 7 international loans are for players over the age of 21. So there's still one spot open if Sinisterra has to go, for example, to Feyenoord or Marseille.
Realistically now, right? Realistically, how many players do Leeds United need? Realistically,
for me,
I was saying Somerville's still here, or is he gone?
Yeah, no, just now, just based on now. Realistically,
I think we need, I'd say, 6 good players,
first teamers,
like Ampadu, that style players.
Now, is it for those? Go on. How many for you? And I'll ask the question.
For me, 2 strikers. Number 10, 1 CM DM, 2 actually, one defensive midfielder and 1 CM box to box, 1 left back and another center back.
So how many is that, bro? Sorry, I didn't count.
It's 2, 4, 6.
6.
Right. No, 7. Sorry, 7.
7.
Yeah.
So, is it realistic to think? And those that are saying, I've seen if you chill out, it's 17 days. I said this fucking last week, and I was told chill out, it's fucking 25 days. We're still in the same situation. What do you believe it's realistic that Leeds United can bring in that amount of bodies and have them playing cohesively?
No,
it's not, is it? It's not.
It's very difficult. Mission impossible.
How can you bring in 6 players with what we've already got, right? And like Lockie said, they need to be sufficient 6 players, not squad players, first teamers, right? Yeah. And it's going to take till, I don't know, we could be looking at November, December before we're actually cohesive.
Potentially. Exactly. I think, again, it depends on what players they are. So obviously, if it was the Max Aronson, he'd have fit in seamlessly under a Farke 100%, system, right?
Yeah.
But who else out there has played under Daniel Farke? Even, Ampadu fit in seamlessly as well because he's just a very good player. But this is what I mean now. If the players we do bring in, whenever that happens, they have to be completely right. There can't be any, they have to be the right players. It's really weird, this, because if the club has agreed to do this, that goes through Daniel Farke, right? He's signed off on it and said, "I'm all right."
Maybe he didn't even have a fucking choice. Do you know what I mean? You don't know, do you?
You don't. I hope not. I hope that's not the case. Oh,
God.
dear.
Gets worse, man. Gets worse.
That's just an extra body we have to bring in.
Zaniolo's got "Here we go" to Villa. Anyway, that's 3 minutes ago. That's done. Maybe that could free up the Archer, but
that Brandon Williams thing's looking a bit more thingy now.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
What do you? Because a lot of people have mentioned this in the comments. What about Charlie Taylor being left out of the Burnley squad? Could that have legs to it?
At this rate, I'll take him, honestly.
See, that's what I'm saying. I was just going to say to you, those that even said, I'll never want him back at this stage would be like, Charlie, please come back. Because we are in a shit show right now. It's mad.
Lads, we need to get the back together, you know, bring in Charlie Taylor, Lewis Cook, Alex Morworth.
Exactly. Yeah.
Everyone back in, you know, Alex Keynes as the new keeper. No, honestly, to be fair, I think for the championship, Charlie Taylor will be good. And of course, he's played as a centre back too at Burnley. But if you remember him, he had a lot of pace in him when he played for Leeds. So I know that he didn't leave a good memory of him because of the way he left, the Nunes-esque way he left, you know, Leeds, you know. And of course, he said that he regretted it after years, that he was better advised. A repeat of what is happening right now with Nyonto, probably. Maybe the cycle, you know, it would be mental. Imagine that we bring in as a left back Charlie Taylor, as the CMDM, because Adams goes to Bournemouth, Cook, and Chris Wood up front.
It's mental, isn't it, mate? What's happening
Imagine
right
that.
now?
I'm joking. I'm joking.
I know you are, but even still.
Honestly, Charlie Taylor and Brandon Williams, you know, of course, they're not.
The facts are the improvers, though, mate. The improvers.
Yeah, the improvers.
I was just going to ask you. I was just going to ask you this question. I was listening to "Don't Go to Bed Just Yet" earlier, and one of them said on there that Luke Ayling being the captain, elder statesman, and that. But even that now is proper worrying and bad, because Luke Ayling at the weekend, and you know me, I'm an old guard apologist, but he was so bad. I seen it. Someone tagged me in a stat earlier on where he was the most dribbled past defender.
Yeah. I think first kind of 20 minutes, I thought it was all right. I thought he competed quite well, but after that, his legs just kind of went, didn't they? Yeah. When his recovery runs, they used to be really good at that. Luke Ayling recovery runs. He's lost his legs, especially like after half time. He just goes to pot completely. Yeah, he's lost his legs. For me.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, but it's funny because all I keep thinking about, because I do the White Rose Rivals, and obviously them clubs have been in the Championship for a while now, and you know. The lad at Huddersfield mentioned when they dropped out, and he mentioned how like players like Hogg and that you thought, oh, they'll be all right when they drop back down, and when they dropped back down, they just weren't.
Yeah,
and you know, that's what I feel like. James says, Joe, you look really sad, mate. I'm sorry, bro. I am. Like, you don't understand. Like, well, you do understand because you all feel it too. Do you know what I mean? Like, I woke up this morning genuinely and just seen. I really liked Harrison, and I just started to think of that bygone era again, man. You know, I felt I used to. I don't even want to go there because I told people week after week. I seen a poll this morning from a Leeds fan saying I couldn't wait to get him out, but now I regret it. Do you agree? And I was saying all this at the time, because ever since the man left, done. And if we're not careful, and I know it's wild because. Yeah, maybe I'm being reactionary and my mood's changed during this bloody live because news has come out and that's what happens. But if we're not careful, it might be a while.
That's why we need clarity. Because
in
Italy, I'm sorry to bring this up again, you know.
Well, you have the ultras though, innit? Like,
yeah, exactly.
we should start the ultras, bro. We should go stand in the crowd and say, demand that they come and speak to us.
No,
do you know what I mean? Demand.
No, honestly, there's if you go and check some videos, you know, there's the ultras have this mentality that even in my own town, they don't chant the name of the players, but they chant only for the shirt because the shirt is above everything. So there is different mentalities, you know. In other cities, they chant about the players. They have chant for the players. In Reggio, they chant only about the shirt, you know. But overall in Italy, what the fans led by the ultras ask is clarity on the season. They say we can even upset an average team, but we want you to be clear. If you say we're gonna have a difficult season, we're gonna have an average team, we have these difficulties. in order to operate and give you a better team, it's good because we are prepared. We know what's coming. But that's why I think they need to clarify that, because the fans are basing their opinions on the aggressive transfer window on Parag. So they expect a really aggressive transfer window and a top team. But clearly that top team is not right now slowed down by the clauses, because it crushes with the little income from the market. And the little income from the market is pushing us back from investing in the market. So that's why I think that should have been clarified, because the fans would have known the real situation and they will understand better what's going on and what to expect by this situation. Right now, everybody clearly feels disappointed. It feels frustrated because everybody expected an aggressive and really strong team by now. But that's not the case. And why that's not the case? I'm going to say this. It's not the case because of those clauses and the fact that we had little to no income. And without little to no income, we couldn't invest in other players. We had to invest 7 million on Ampadu and 400K on Andallo. That's very low budget transfer market so far, because we haven't sold players and had income for those transfers.
Do you know what I just want to say on that as well, and we'll get to some super chats as well, folks, because I know there's been a few come in. The 49ers haven't helped themselves by that stupid podcast they did then, by talking about being aggressive. And I did the short, and it is just meant in jest, and hopefully he isn't talking rubbish. But I just think to come out and say the things that he did, like, oh yeah, okay, I know it took us a while to get the ratification done, but Leeds fans need to know this is my game, this is what I do all this in my sleep. You've not helped yourself. And that's all I'll say. Football fans are like that. But Fergal Kelly says, speaking of Irish under-21s, what do you think of Troy Parrott as a 9 or a 10 on loan? Do you know him at all, Andrea? I know you're an Irish
I know.
Irish fan.
I know him. Honestly, I don't rate him much, to be fair. He was highly rated at Tottenham, but of course, he had a good loan in League One with MK Dons. But when he played in the Championship, especially the first time at Millwall and then at Preston, I think he was overhyped back then. He is an average player. He has some good characteristics, but also he's inconsistent. So I really don't have a high opinion of him, and I'm sorry, because he looked very promising when he was given the first game at Mourinho at Spurs.
Yeah. We've had Bob's your uncle, I like that. He says sell Nonto for 20. And be done with him. I don't think we should do that, like get the money, but I hear you in terms of can't just go, be done with him, let's just take a lower fee. I hope they get 25, 30. It says with Adams 20 and Nonto 20, you can buy a top 9. Yeah, you're right, with the money in the bank. So let's hope with Adams' sale going through that we're going to be able to spend some of that. Ian S says, Joe, we can't just let everyone leave and make no signings. I agree with you, Ian. He says, what is going on? I don't think anyone knows. If you this is the thing, at the end of the day, the supporters trust have even reached out to the football club and nothing's come back from it. So, has anything changed? Really? Just the name above the door. That's all it is at the minute. But go on, mate.
Yeah, and the
name above the door, but it's still got the same fucking manager in a sense, because Angus is still here.
Yeah, exactly what I was going to say. Now today the Trust have released a tweet. I've tweeted that they had submitted questions to the club, and we know that they are the ones having a direct line.
But do you know what they did though as well? They created a supporters advisory board though. They did that before.
Yeah,
and they not with the Trust though. Trying to keep it anyway. They know what they're doing. So what is going on? I don't want to see a second fall from grace back into League One. I don't think it's that bad, but if we're not careful, this league is unforgiving. PRM says it's a horrible time to see what is happening to this great club and the players refuse to play. I don't want to see it ever again. At the moment, we're in trouble. Massive, mate, PRM, massive. And I just, at the minute, I can't see. And again, I'm saying the same things I was saying the end of last season. I can't see the wood through the trees. Can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I used that phrase, that Turner phrase, so many times in them games. And we're 2 games in. This is what's really blowing my mind is that we're 2 games in. 2 games in. Talk to me. Help me. Be positive. Someone be positive.
I'll try. I'm honestly trying to figure out the Helder one. I really am, because this, if we're led to believe this is not a clause thing, this is the club, right?
That's funny. That's funny.
This is the club deciding, and I know, Joe, you mentioned maybe they've not spoke to Fark.
You would.
Yeah. I genuinely think this is his decision.
Yeah.
I don't think he fancies him. And if the club has
he's
said,
rubbish, isn't he? Let's be real, he's rubbish.
He's not been great, has he? Let's be honest. He's struggled. He's massive struggled.
Yeah.
So in that sense, and it's not, they're not getting financial really from this, because it's a lot. It might be a loan to buy, but right now it's not helping us financially, really, is it? It's not a big earner either. So this must be purely a performance thing, which does lead me to, in my mind, believe that there must be someone the club have identified to bring him in. Like, this, not a few days ago, we were on the brink of signing Aaron's. Like, there must be something like that in the line. Yeah. There better be. Yeah. Otherwise, this decision would make no sense. But like I said, this decision, I think, is forefronted by Daniel Farke, who's decided he doesn't want the player. Yeah. Unless the club has completely gone behind his back, which I'm not at that stage yet. I don't think they'll get a phone call tomorrow. So, by the way, we've got rid of Helder on loan. It's weird, though. There must be something, surely.
Yeah.
And still in this situation, I know it's bleak at the moment. It really is. And days are running out. They really are. But I still think we have the best person we can in terms of manager. That's all I can really say. If we had someone else right now that we didn't really know, we didn't know the history of, some young manager trying to prove himself, I'd be a lot more nervous. But with Daniel Farke, he has, in a similar way, dealt with this kind of thing before. So we have to trust his judgment and be with him in this, because he's going through it as well. He's got to deal with this situation, hasn't he? This is his team that's getting demolished in front of him.
Yeah. But in its players, lucky to do that. It's the best. He's one of the best managers in the league. It's won it twice, but if he doesn't have the players, he can do wonders. He can do magic. It's not.
I just want to say to James there. James just saying, it doesn't matter how good Farke is. It does to an extent. It does.
Yeah, of course
experience you've had in these situations massively helps. I don't think he walks either. I think he knew these things were happening. So.
Yeah. I think of course, the manager matters, because at the end of the day, no manager was coming in at Leeds United under Radrizzani and getting them promoted in the way that Bielsa did.
No, exactly. With that squad Bielsa had as well.
Squad, I said it at the time, with that squad. But even, do you know what? I said this the other day, Andre, and I don't know if you agree. Even Bielsa couldn't get a tune out of what played on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure.
Not a chance.
Yeah. The league has changed too. So
yeah,
the league has changed too.
Yes.
But that's why listening to what Lucky said, that's why they need to clarify that, because the frustration and the discomfort, the rumors are starting to run pump in the fan base. And it's not like American sports when you have trades, you have cuts, I don't remember the correct term, the wavings, the waves in the NBA or in the NFL. When you make those decisions and the fans just comment on Twitter, because it's a different way to live the sport. Here you have to communicate directly with the fan base, because otherwise, if the things aren't explained in the current sense and the situation is not clear, maybe the situation is totally different. But if the misperception maybe of this situation is not made clear, the rumors start to spread, a different situation shapes, and you have 40,000 people booing and protesting at the Land Road, maybe in 2 or 3 weeks, if things don't turn right, So it's better if they clarify the situation and say, we are in this situation because of this, and this.
We need to know.
It's better. It's quality.
And from our perspective, as a fan, you're looking at the squad and going, right, they've all gone. We're not looking at it as if it's hard. It's getting harder and harder each day to look at it and say, it's all right, we're going to get signings in, because we've been saying that for weeks, right? And we don't know the contract situation with these clauses, but now we're seeing another player leave. And from our perspective, that's another player less on that's going to be there on Ellen Road. So we're even worse situation right now. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So we're just speculating. We need someone to tell us just anything on the situation. Just tell us. We're Leeds United. We're an honest fan base. You know what I mean? We want to be told what's going on. It's crazy.
Exactly. If you say we cannot invest much money this window, tell this specifically. Of course, it will be in context with what the aggressive window Palak talked about, but it will be honest. The fans will understand the situation, because right now, like I said, our expectancy is aggressive and top tier, trying to push for promotion straight away. But we don't have the players right now. We are pushing and rushing young players like Archie Gray. Archie Gray was brilliant against Cardiff. Archie Gray played at playing midweek versus Shrewsbury. I don't think he was bad against Birmingham. He's 70 years old. You can't pretend much from him, week in, week out. I think he struggled more against Birmingham, but I can expect that from him. He's 17 years old, He's a talent, but we can ask him to be the man of the match every game in midfield with ample with no physicality. So of course that's why we need, and the manager needs player to come in. Right now he's talking about the transfer situation, the financial situation, every presser. That's why Farke will be questioned about that again on Wednesday or Thursday when the press conference is for the game against West Brom, and he'll have the same answer again, because he said that this is not the time to talk about this. We talk about the situation in the future. But for me, the time is now, because the fan base is turning against not Farke, because Farke and the squad are back, but they are asking questions, and rightfully so, to the 49ers, because the 49ers created an expectancy with that interview of a certain transfer. But right now, probably they can do that because of specific reasons. And I think my opinion is that the specific reasons are not their fault, but they lie within the previous ownership and the previous people in charge of the transfer strategy, the CEO and the former director of football. So it's not the fault of Hammond and Steinson. These are two top professionals. Look at the CVs. Look at what they did at the previous clubs. So I don't think that there's their fault in the end, their main fault at least. They need to clarify that, because I think Steinson and Hammond, two top professionals, look at what Hammond did with Newcastle, are limited, but by things that have been left behind by the previous people in charge of the transfers. They need to say that. Say that straight away. Explain the whole situation. The fans will understand that. They'll understand that.
Our information is being relied on by Daniel Farke at the end of every game.
He's
getting asked these questions. He's the manager. He just wants to concentrate on the team, and he's getting asked about ownership. He's getting asked about players coming in every time, and who's going to leave. And he's saying, "I can't tell you that. That's not for me to tell you."
Yeah, it's like an NPC in a video game. They are there when they repeat the same question. But Farke is a great manager and great person. He's honest.
He's doing his best to tell us as much as he can, isn't he? Yeah, he's trying.
Exactly, but it's not his duty to explain the whole situation, because he's the manager and he needs to train the team. He needs to train the team. It's not his duty.
I just want this month over.
Yeah,
I want it over, because the thing is as well is I am paying attention, Jack. I'm just stressing, bro. Like, I think training can't be healthy. Can you imagine going into training? You don't know who's going to be there every day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The manager doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Squid Game.
Yeah, exactly. Bob's your uncle says everyone get lucky to 2K criminally. Isn't that true? What you on, Lucky?
1.92.
Right, we can get that today, folks. We've got 1,400 people watching. We will be coming to a close soon, because, like I say, we've got it's an hour and a half, and these panel shows are long. But yeah, Jack, it is rough, bro. 969 likes as well. So if you haven't already, please smash a like on the video. We know that we're losing another tonight, definitively. Looks like Adams and Kjelda probably will leave now. So it's like, I don't know what we're what tomorrow will bring, but like the song goes, "Wake me up when September ends," something like that. So yeah, it's mad. Listen, Stuart, sack. I don't care what the stadium looks like. I don't care if there's still pie on the roof. Stop with that. If the 49ers are genuinely putting all their eggs into that basket, stop and put it on the pitch, please, because that's what matters at the end of the day. Leeds United fans would turn up in a shed. It don't matter.
Do you know what? The thing we keep saying, it's literally every day. Oh, tomorrow there's gonna be something tomorrow, and there never is.
This is the thing, isn't it? It's like Groundhog Day.
You're sat here now with all the information going. It has to be now, right? If
exactly.
There's got to be something's got to happen tomorrow.
I don't know. Right. Okay. Yeah. Listen, midnight soon come. Who knows? Right. In 14 minutes, we might just get loads of announcements. Imagine. Loads of announcement videos.
Just 5 players.
Yeah.
Mr. is dancing his way out of Leeds.
Nah, Sydney signs a new contract.
With a release clause in a week's time. That's what it'll be. You can leave in a week. Yeah. Listen, well done everyone going over and subbing at Lockie. It's an hour and a half we've done now. It's long. Hopefully, again, saying it again, but hopefully tomorrow's better. But we'll be covering it either way. All right. So keep it locked at the Just Joe Football Show. Check out Lockie at Ben Lockie Leeds, and apparently you're on 2K now. Kevin's just said, mate. You want to just check?
I'll have a check.
2K. He's a new player in the game. NBA 2K.
It's not updated for me yet.
It's not updated. Kevin says you're on 2K. You're on 2K, apparently.
Well, if I am, thank you for everyone in the
chat. If you haven't, please go on over and do that, and hopefully that'll. People are saying check your subs. Are you sure? Have you pressed refresh?
Yeah. He has more subs than Leeds on the bench.
Couple of goalkeepers in there and that.
Yeah, it's not saying it yet.
White smoke incoming. Congrats, Lockie. People are saying. If you haven't, make sure you do, because now we're going to look silly. Aren't we? But yeah, smash a like, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, hit that notification bell. Make sure you check out Andrea on Twitter as well, and we'll no doubt see you tomorrow. What day is it tomorrow? It is Tuesday. Is anything going? No, not as of yet, but something will happen tomorrow. I bet. I know it will. We've got 17
better off or worse. It will happen.
Yeah, it will happen. So I'll see you tomorrow. And if you're watching this after the case, and smash a like. You got anything you want to leave us with, Andrea? Leave us with a nugget of positivity, mate. Give us something positive. Say it in Italian as well.
Le cose si metteranno a posto. Crediamoci, rimaniamo uniti, marciamo insieme, marching on together.
I love that.
So yeah, we need to stay positive. I think again, if we get past this window and cut all the ties with the past, I think we'll be good. If we get past this inheritance left behind, and then we can really start with a fresh start. I think. With Hammond and Steinson, I really believe in them, but I think that they are held back like from the ghost of the past, you know. Yeah, but that's my buonanotte.
Buonanotte, people. Buonanotte. Okay, I have to do it like this. Bene grazie. Buonanotte. To be fair,
why everyone says that?
I don't know, man. It's like this, bro. You know what I mean?
I do that when I speak normally in mine. I do that all the time. I don't know why I do it.
But tonight I adjusted a lot. It was really Italian tonight, yeah.
Yeah. It is what it is. It's a good thing. Buonanotte, people, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.